A Pony of a Different Color by AugieDog. Steeling herself, Fluttershy stopped in front of the sugar cube corner.
I'm sorry, Rarity,
she said, pushing out the words when her friend paused to take a breath in the middle of another funny story about her cat.
But I just have to stop here for a moment.
Here?
Rarity arched an eyebrow at the baker's door.
On April Fool's Day with Pinkie Pie instead?
Fluttershy forced a chuckle past the nervous clench in her throat.
Oh no, Rarity. You know Pinkie Pie always takes April Fool's Day off. It's for amateur jokes, she says, not professionals like her.
I know what she says.
Rarity turned and marched towards the opposite side of the street.
However, I believe I'll wait out here if you don't mind.
Feeling doubly guilty now, Fluttershy ducked her head.
I'm sorry,
she said again.
I'll be as quick as I can. Then we can go to the spa.
Rarity nodded, and Fluttershy pushed the baker's door open, the bell making her flinch as it always did. Fluttershy! Pinkie Pie's voice called out from somewhere in the vicinity of an 8-layer cake that covered most of the floor in a corner. I'll be with you in 3/4 of a sec.
Oh!
Fluttershy swallowed.
That's alright. Take your time. I'm not.
You're not! Pinkie Pie popped up from behind the cake, her eyes blinking rapidly at behind the frosting-covered goggles. But you look exactly like Fluttershy, are you? She gasped and shot straight into the air, her mane and tail frizzing like a dandelion fluff. Are you her evil twin?
No!
Alarmed, Fluttershy looked down at herself, put a hoof to her chest to see if she felt it the way she usually did.
I mean, I don't think I am. At least I wasn't when I came in.
She looked imploringly at her friend.
I promise, Pinkie.
Huh. Pinkie Pie trotted around to the front of the giant cake. Well, it'd totally be okay if you were, 'cause, you know, I'm an expert on evil twin stuff. Her face curved into her usual big grin. Something non-evil twinny I can help you with today?
Yes. No.
Fluttershy stopped, took a breath, and told herself again that this was going to be fun. Took a wide-hoofed stance on the bakery floor and blurted out,
Is your refrigerator running?
Pinkie Pie blinked. Well, yeah, unless the ants have gotten in and stolen the motor again. Heart quivering, Fluttershy opened her mouth, and she couldn't do it. She couldn't make herself say the words she'd been practicing in secret all March.
Oh, good. If it's running,
She sighed, and she turned for the door.
Thank you, Pinkie. I'm sorry to take up so much of your...
Wait a minute! A whoosh overhead, and Pinkie Pie was suddenly on the doorstep in front of Fluttershy, the Earth Pony's eyes wide and her grin even bigger than before. You were gonna say that if it's running, I'd better go hurry and catch him, weren't you? Fluttershy's ears folded, her cheeks burning. She tried to step back, but her hooves were shaking too much. She couldn't figure out how to move them. Sparks seemed to burst forth from between Pinkie's eyes. You're gonna April Fool's me! She clasped her front hoofs together. Oh, Fluttershy, this is the happiest day of my life! She started a little dance on the doorstep. Your first ever April Fool's joke, and you chose me! Me! Sucking in her breath, Fluttershy stared at her friend.
Then you don't mind?
Mind? Pinkie Pie's eyes wavered. Fluttershy, I'm so proud of you! Fluttershy wasn't sure if she was blushing in pleasure or shame at this point.
I just thought I'd try...
Pinkie Pie nodded. And that refrigerator's one is a classic. It never gets old. A little wickedness came into her grin. So, who's the next victim in your campaign of jokery?
Next?
A shiver shook Fluttershy from the tips of her ears to the last hair on her tail.
I almost fainted doing this.
That's okay, Fluttershy. Pinkie Pie danced past her and back into the bakery. One step at a time, you know. You'll do next year. I know you will. She shouldered another pack of frosting onto her back and started for the cake again. I'll see you later.
Thanks, Pinkie.
Fluttershy stepped outside, Rarity still waiting across the street. The white unicorn was smiling.
Well, you certainly made Pinkie Pie's day.
She started up in the street towards the spa. Fluttershy shook her head and moved into a step behind her.
I just wish I could have gone through with it. Jokes are so important to Pinkie. I just wanted to make today special for her.
Rarity nudged her with a shoulder.
You did, but today's our special day too, isn't it?
It certainly is.
Fluttershy gave her friend a smile she didn't quite feel, and Rarity picked up her cat story again. Opalescent's antics carrying them through the front of the door of the bathhouse, into the steam room, onto the massage tables, and right onto the edge of the spa. Rarity slipped into the bubbling water, and, after a moment of hesitation, Fluttershy followed, still nervous despite the soothing atmosphere of the place.
What a pretty, witty kitty I have.
Then she's not scratching you anymore?
Fluttershy asked hopefully. The water was so lovely and tingly around her. Rarity waved a hoof.
One expects display of temper from a purebred. Why just the other day?
And she set off into another story, Fluttershy glad to have something she could focus on to take her mind off her worries. This story lasted the entire time in its spa, and they were toweled off and stepping back out onto the street when Rarity finished.
But you've done such wonders with the little darling.
She turned to Fluttershy.
I can't thank you enough for...
Her eyes ballooned out, and she gave her a little shriek.
Fluttershy, you...
Fluttershy looked down, saw the usual creamy yellow coat of her coat glowing an emerald green, then looked back up and pointed a hoof at her friend.
Rarity?
Because the pure white of Rarity's hide was darkening too, turning green as bright as a party lantern. Rarity's shriek this time turned into a growl halfway through.
Pinkie Pie!
Rarity?
She must have dripped something on you at the bakery.
Actually, Rarity,
Something that would dye us both this horrible colour when we went into the spa.
No, Rarity, it wasn't.
I shall be avenged.
Rarity planted her front hoofs on the ground and snorted like a bull.
No one makes a fool out of...
It was me, Rarity.
Fluttershy threw herself into the air, hovering right in front of Rarity's astonished face.
I spent all winter distilling it from plants I gathered last fall, made it into a powder, and sprinkled it on my coat so it would spread into the water.
You?
Rarity looked so funny, green from the neck down, shocked from the neck up, that Fluttershy couldn't help but giggle. And it was even funnier since he knew she looked just as ridiculous.
But why?
So we could be April Fool's twins.
She landed in front of Rarity and started doing her best version of Pinkie Pie's little dance.
I knew Pinkie Pie would want me to try fooling her first, but those kind of word jokes are so hard.
She waved a hoof between herself and the unicorn.
This is what I've been planning for 6 months.
Rarity's eyes twitched, but so did the corners of her mouth, a grin growing there that blossomed into a full-bodied laughter.
April Fool's twins.
She threw back her head and stepped into the dance beside Fluttershy, the pony stopping on the street to stare at them. Suddenly, though, hoof seized at Fluttershy, and she found herself staring right into Rarity's glare.
It will wash off, won't it?
All of Fluttershy's nervousness crashed back into place.
Oh yes. It's mostly just chlorophyll. You can...
She swallowed, hung her head, and couldn't meet Rarity's eyes.
You can go right back inside and wash it off if you want to.
A moment of silence, and then Rarity's laugh made Fluttershy look back up.
What say we stop by Sugar Cube Corner first?
Her heart soaring, Fluttershy couldn't keep her wings still, couldn't keep herself on the ground.
Oh, thank you. Can we dance the whole way there?
Rarity poked her with a hoof.
Try and stop me.
And laughing, they shimmied, shook, and boogied their green selves up the street together. The end.